There are a lot of talented players in there, but I'm kind of worried about them. He
on his day, he's a very good.
Yeah, on his day, he's a very good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
For me, the question concerning Algeria is what people will call the Ronaldo problem, also in Portugal.
Yeah.
Man is still the guy.
Okay.
You know, can he be dropped?
I don't think so.
Would that backfire?
I don't think he will be dropped.
Is he still the guy?
Among these 10 teams, which one will you tip to go hardest?
Senegal. Well, because if they do well, it reflects well on African football.
Absolutely.
Who knows, we may get more slots later. And probably if we get up to 12 slots, Nigeria may sneak in next time.
Africa is set to make history at the FIFA 2026 World Cup with, record 10 teams heading to the finals for the very first time in the tournament's history. From football powerhouses like Ghana, Egypt and Senegal, and of course hopefuls as well, expectations are rising across the continent. Africa prepares for its biggest World Cup representation yet. Well, welcome to the media's World Cup review. On this series of conversations, we will look at Africa's chances, key teams, key players, and also expect what the African continent will bring for us. Also, we'll look at visa restrictions despite a recent waiver by the US government. I am Sankule Jibril Jankan. With me, I am so excited to have my colleague Francis Boniface Ode. Hello Francis, how are you doing?
Hello Sankule, it's nice to meet under this new arrangement with the exciting World Cup coming up. But I have an agenda. Nigeria is not there. So.
But Ghana is there. They're your brothers.
Yeah, Ghana is there. I'm going to be looking out for Ghana.
But they're your brothers, so you should be excited the fact that Ghana is there.
Too, but it's not the same thing when you are not, when your country is not there. But of course.
In that case, are you waiting? Are you really ready for the banter? Because I am so you're gonna have a lot of it on X from your fellow Ghanaian brothers and sisters.
That's the beauty of football. Nigeria is not there. I'm going to be supporting Ghana. I'm going to be supporting Senegal, of course.
You support Ghana?
Of course. Even South Africa.
Oh, well.
Yeah. That's why it's an African team. I'm going to support them and see how far they'll go. Because if they do well, it reflects well on African football.
Absolutely.
Who knows, we may get more slots later. And probably if we get up to 12 slots, Nigeria may sneak in next time.
Well, we have a lot of things to discuss. We have a lot of topics to discuss. But first of all, let's talk about the 10 qualified teams. They include Senegal, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, Cape Verde, South Africa, and of course, as you know, after the continental playoffs, DR Congo also joined them. They were the 10th team. Let's look at their chances one after the other. We begin with the debutants, of course, that is Cape Verde. This is the first time they make history, the first time they'll be representing the World Cup tournament. What do you make of this island nation's chances, Francis?
I'm proud you did something different. I thought you were going to start with Morocco. And I was about to ask you why Morocco. Why must we start with Morocco?
Right?
Why must we start with Senegal?
Yeah.
But now we're starting with Cape Verde. Cape Verde, as they prefer to be called.
I'm so happy you're proud of me.
And, I think Cape Verde, it's an amazing run. It's kind of comparable to what Curacao did in the North America qualifying series also. It kind of reminds me of Trinidad and Tobago in 2006 also. Yeah, so I think it's an amazing run by Cape Verde. I don't know if they have enough in them to go beyond the group stages, but I'm sure they'll put up a fight. But I'm not sure they have, the depth in the squad.
Yeah, I think that's a very wise point.
Go that far. Yeah. There are a lot of talented players in there, but I'm kind of worried about the depth. I'm worried of what if the first two matches doesn't go well? Do they have enough to go
to regroup?
To regroup and try and see if they can go for the third one and see if it will be enough. Also, will 3 points be enough to make it out of a group? We're not quite sure, but I think they'll put up a fight, but I'm not quite sure of them going to the next round.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about DR Congo. the qualification, of course, after beating Nigeria. The African playoffs.
He just had to rub it.
Not really rub it, but okay, that's what it is. And then, of course, they beat Jamaica, that is the Reggae Boys, in the Intercontinental Playoff. They did extremely well as well. Some would say, is it just because Nigeria were just too poor? What do you think?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with Nigeria being poor. DRC is a very good team.
Yeah.
We're talking about a team that has a very good unpredictable attacking players, very solid defensive players. Chancel Mbemba, the former Manchester United right back, Wan-Bissaka.
Wan-Bissaka is there.
Incredible additions to the team.
You have Bakambu.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Adding a lot of steel, like you mentioned, Bakambu, well-traveled striker, very good, you know. I think that they are one that may slip into the next round. And also, when you look at the trajectory, how they even got to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Fact, there's hard work. We can't say there is no hard work.
Yes.
But it was close to a miracle also. You know?
There's
a
also
lot of things came together.
Yeah. I think unity also is part of that. They play as a team.
Yeah, exactly.
As a compact team.
And the coach also. Sebastian Desabre.
It's one of those teams where you don't have a standout star or stars. They play as a unit. I think that's one of their secrets. That's
and we still have Wissa in there, very good player.
Of course.
Yeah, on his day, he's a world beater on his day. It doesn't happen every day.
He's yet to replicate his Brentford form for Newcastle.
Exactly.
But he's a very good player as well. And we also have Siddiqui, remember? Siddiqui is also doing very well.
Very, very good player,
you know, for Sunderland as well.
Very good player.
So that's
I think they have a lot of good individual players. Also, they have a good work ethic. I think DRC is just this team that if everything clicks, then they can surprise you.
Yeah.
You know, if everything just comes together, and somehow during the World Cup qualifying rounds, everything just clicked.
Yeah.
But you also notice that everything didn't click during the AFCON.
Yes.
You know, so there are two sides.
Yeah. So let's hope that things will click for them.
Click, exactly. If it clicks, they can go to the next
round. They could do really well. Yeah. Let's talk about a very interesting team, and that is South Africa. I remember you and I were having a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, in the CAF Champions League when Mamelodi Sundowns, we're supposed to, play, in the CAF Champions League. We were talking about, imagine a player playing for, Mamelodi Sundowns, you said to face Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. You're talking about the experience, the vast difference.
Yeah.
What do you make of South Africa and their chances, the Bafana?
Well, talented, very talented bunch. They know themselves very well, which is like what we keep saying in Africa. Like much of the team plays in the PSL. A core contingent from Mamelodi Sundowns also. So they know themselves. Probably these days they're starting to introduce some European-based players also. We have Foster in there also. So it's no longer like 100% home-based team. No, it's still majority home-based.
And majority also from Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah, majority also from Mamelodi Sundowns. Yeah. So, and also let's not discount what happened at the Club World Cup. Yeah. They gained, I know I said something about sometimes the gap in quality
and
can creep up at this level. But I think at the Club World Cup last year, much of these players also had a chance to probably plug that gap a little bit. They played Dortmund, they played a few other teams in there.
Top European clubs.
Top European. And also used to play in top European teams during pre-season. Pre-season is not the same thing anyway, because the European teams are trying to basically come back from vacation and get into their stride, while sometimes the African teams are already in the middle of the season. You know, it's not quite the same thing, but I think that gap in quality is not so much again. They play international football. Like I said, they play the Club World Cup, some of them. So they're actually exposed to a very high level of football, but not consistently per se. But the talent is there, So I think my problem with Bafana, and probably the one weakness I may think of, is probably game management. I don't think they will have problems scoring a goal or two.
Game management.
They're going to get a goal.
And with a goalkeeper who takes so much risk as well. Ronwen Williams.
And also a very good goalkeeper.
He's a very good one, of course.
Very good goalkeeper. Yeah, but once in a while, something just switches off.
Yeah.
You're kind of praying that he doesn't have
those moments.
A blooper one day.
Yeah. Blooper.
But he organizes
on his day he's a very good
on his day he's a very good goalkeeper. He organizes his team. He makes crucial saves. He's a shot stopper. You know, you can depend on him on penalties.
Of course, we've seen that in Côte
He has good
d'Ivoire.
reflexes.
Yeah.
You know, but there is always a blooper not too far away. Sometimes he may get over adventurous, you know, maybe just trying to channel his inner Manuel Neuer, and, you know, yeah. But apart from that, a solid goalkeeper. So I think if they can be solid at the back, and if they can know how to see out a game, you have a 1-0 win. Is getting towards the 70, 80 minutes. If they know how to see that out, I think they could win a match or two and draw another one and get to the next round.
Interesting. Let's see how that pans out. Let's talk about the Black Stars of Ghana. They're a very interesting team. This is a team that even failed to secure qualification to the AFCON.
Yeah.
That's, you know, the recent AFCON 2025 Morocco. But somehow they secured qualification to the World Cup. And there are so many doubts about how good this team is, and that's one of the factors is because they are star player. That is Mohammed Kudus is a doubt. People still don't know, but some are saying, okay, if he's doubt, we have Antoine Semenyo, who is doing extremely well. In fact, he scored the winner in the FA Cup between Man City and Chelsea.
Yeah.
What do you make of the Black Stars? How would you get them?
I think you've said everything. I think the Black Stars, one thing they have is pedigree. You know, so when a team has pedigree, you know, they know how to manage pressure. Once in a while, of course, like it happened last time, they didn't manage it so well and didn't qualify for the last AFCON. But this is a team that is used to being in the spotlight.
Yeah.
It is a country that is used to being in the spotlight of African football.
That's right.
So Ghana getting to this is not like the best Ghana team we've ever seen.
True.
But if this team were to get to the quarterfinal, it wouldn't really be a massive news because they've done it before.
Because the country has gone
the
before.
pedigree.
Yeah, that's the pedigree.
Right?
Right.
So I think this is a team that has to be carried by one or two players. And if those one or two players get in a very good form, I don't think they need the entire team to be in sync. They just need those one or two players to click. And the other ones have a decent level enough
And they'll
to help.
Yeah.
You know, and they can go far. But if those one or two players don't click, there may be a problem. If Semenyo doesn't bring his A game,
Perhaps
all the other players are
Thomas
decent
Partey.
players, but not quite at that level.
What about
But
the captain himself?
Thomas
If he also
Partey-
clicks, I feel that it would be good for the Black Stars.
Yeah, I think Thomas Partey is, I may be wrong, but I feel like he's a 7/10, 8/10 player.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, he can't be that bad, but he's not going to be the one winning you matches. You know, but he's going to give you a solid performance that will help the rest of the team
To click.
to click. You know, but I don't see him as a match winner type. You
Like
know.
Kudus, for instance.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
perhaps Antoine Semenyo.
Yeah, but he can keep the game ticking. Yeah, so I don't really see him as the game changer, not like how will I put it, a Ryan Shaky type or Jeremy Doku type player,
Yeah.
or using Ghana now, Semenyo or
Semenyo,
Kudus. I think those are like the match winners, right? Those are the people that can actually make things happen. But in terms of structure, the midfield, keeping things ticking, of course, that's where Thomas Partey comes in. But I don't see him taking the ball and going past three players.
And creating those.
You know, that kind of thing, yeah.
Well, from Ghana, the Black Stars, let's go to their neighbors, that is Côte d'Ivoire and the Elephants of Ivory Coast. It's a very interesting team, if you ask me, because we've seen the magic that, you know, Thomas Faye did during the 2023 AFCON, of course. He got appointed in the middle of the tournament and he won them the trophy. But if you see in 2025, because we're not the same team that we saw in the previous tournament, and they've also secured qualification. It's a very interesting team, of course. People are looking forward to watching the likes of, you know, Diallo and of course Sangare as well, or both playing the Premier League. But what do you make of the Elephants team?
If I have one word for Côte d'Ivoire, I think it's resilience. I think they've crafted this thing of always coming from behind. You know, and they have quality players.
They do.
You know, almost at every position. At the beginning, the goalkeeping part was a bit suspect, but I think after a while,
Seems
stable. He has kind of, you know, almost cemented his position and all that. Yes. So apart from that, I think it's just a team full of potential, right? That has all what it takes. I think it's just I would put them just a level below Côte d'Ivoire, well, Senegal and Morocco. Just There's not much there.
There's not much.
It's quite a good team.
Yeah, and they have a lot of their players playing abroad.
Yeah, a lot
like we've also seen a lot of
leagues.
French-born players who want to come and play. Unfortunately, only 2 made it to the World Cup. But that's also, I think, an additional advantage, you would say.
It's an additional advantage.
The experience.
Something new, something probably others may not. Let's say the opposing team coaches don't know how it will work yet. You would study your opponent, but you don't really know what the new player is bringing, because obviously you would go and watch what he does for his club, but you don't know how the dynamic would work within the national team. And you don't even know whether they would start anyway, because why change something if it's not broken? So probably they won't start. Probably they'll maybe be coming off the bench. But apart from them, very, very solid team. Probably lucky. I think that's where one of the new players comes in, Bonnie. The attacking the attacking traits. Ahmad is there, but I feel like they have a lot of ball to feet type of players. They don't really have someone that can finish it off consistently.
Consistently, not on odd number 9.
Yeah, they don't really have someone that can finish it off consistently, and to me that's just the one problem. All the forwards look like they want the ball to fit, and they don't really want to be too clinical with it and all that.
But you think they're one of the teams that you expect to make it to the next round?
Of course, and surprisingly, Côte d'Ivoire haven't done that before. Surprisingly,
even the golden generation.
Exactly. So if they were to do that, it's almost as if they've gone a level ahead. So
they're taking the next step.
Yeah, I think they'll be beating themselves to be the generation that did that. And I think the Drogba generation was a very memorable generation, but a very surprising one at times, because I think as at 2015, it was only Yaya Toure
that was left.
And Kolo Toure. Yeah. I think Drogba had retired. Yeah. I think Zokora was still there. But a few of them had moved on. Aruna Dinden had retired from the national team before they could finally win the AFCON.
Because when they were winning, Drogba,
so a big core of that 2006 generation was no longer there. So it's going to be interesting to see if this generation would be the first
to make that step,
to make the next step, to the next level of world football, which will be surprising for a country that had a Drogba, Yaya Toure, Kolo Toure,
was some very good players. From Côte d'Ivoire, let's shift our attention all the way to the Maghreb teams. Interestingly, these Maghreb teams do so well in the African continent. There was a time when we've seen Egypt dominating African football, consecutive AFCON trophies, but over the years we've seen that they've tend to decline a little bit. But on the world stage, somehow they don't perform well. Let's begin with Egypt, for instance. We've seen Egypt over the years; they've never performed to the level you would have expected, or you would have expected them to perform at World Cup. Why is that?
I think they should be a topic of a PhD thesis or something. Yeah, it's that serious of a problem. Yeah. Egypt is at the pinnacle of African football. So somehow they don't just make it count out there. Yeah. It's a big. I don't know if it's psychological. I can't say, but Egypt has that problem, just like you said. And sadly, Mohamed Salah is not the Mohamed Salah of 4 or 5 years.
5 years ago, absolutely.
Omar Marmoush is there, which is good, but I think Egypt is almost having the same problem as Ghana. It depends on these two. If it works well, maybe they do well. Probably they do well, but I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think so. I don't see enough from, and also the South African challenge in terms of domestic football in Africa. So the South African teams are really doing well currently, and that kind of I know Al Ahly is still winning, but it's no longer the way it was before.
Dominant as they were. Yeah,
it's really pushing.
Now we've seen some of
the Tanzanian teams are really pushing at the Congolese team, Morocco, the Moroccans also. So
yes, of course, because you have AS5. In fact, this is Morocco and the South Africans going to the final.
Exactly.
So
it's no longer
Sundowns as well as AS5, and the Confederation Cup. It was you have you know, you have USM Algiers and another team. So that's
Zamalek,
another Egyptian team. So you see, yeah.
So I think even that the quality coming from the Egyptian league, it's not like there's a big difference in terms of a drop off, but it's not quite at the level of the 2006, 2008 team. You know, that should be the supporting cast to the Mohamed Salah and the Omar Marmoush. And I don't think it's quite good enough.
Because that was the case when they dominated African football. Yeah,
I don't think it's
Al Ahly at the time was the core. You have almost like 95% of the Egyptian team coming from Al Ahly, and they were that good, like you said. Unlike the
I think they got to the third place in the Club World Cup back then. Yeah, they were that good.
Let's talk about Tunisia. Tunisia it's one country like people be like, I wish they don't even consider qualification from those lists. They just are the numbers for African countries because for some reason they've been really, really poor.
Yeah, Tunisian football has had a lot of problems. Well, apart from that, just typically just like Egypt, they don't tend to do well outside the continent, even though they're a reasonable and major force within the continent. And of course, domestic football in Tunisia has also suffered a lot over the years, lack of investment compared to at least Morocco and Algeria, for example. There's been a massive drop-off, you know, in domestic Tunisian football. And of course, it's affecting the national team. And there's also the issue of a lot of players switching nationalities, where there are questions of, are they really switching because they really want to play for Tunisia, or is it because
they just want to get the
they didn't play for France or Germany? And I wonder, you know, are they quite at the level of what we need, you know? And also, just like Egypt, it's not quite. I think the issue in Tunisia is deeper and more serious than in Egypt. The quality coming from the local, the national league is not good enough compared to what they used to have before. Even though before they still had the issue of nationalizing players, because remember Dos Santos when they won the AFCON in 2004 and Clayton, the Brazilians and all that. But then you could see that Etoile du Sahel was doing
good. Esperance the Tunisia
was doing well. Yeah. You had other clubs as Sfax, I think. There is a club SUS or something like that. Yeah. They were all doing well. So there was a lot, a huge pool of talents to draw from. It's not quite the same compared to Morocco and Algeria at this stage. Yeah, I think those two are doing really well in North Africa currently compared to Egypt and Tunisia.
Okay, now let's talk about Algeria. Now that you've mentioned them.
Yeah, those two. Yeah,
but even Algeria as well, okay, they are doing well in terms of club football in the continent, that's Africa. But people still ask questions, a lot of questions surrounding Algeria's performance at global stage.
I think, for me, the question concerning Algeria is probably what people will call the Ronaldo problem also in Portugal.
Yeah.
Is Mahrez still the guy?
Okay.
You know, and can he be dropped?
I don't think so.
Would that backfire?
I don't think he will be dropped.
Is he still the guy, you know, that he was back? Of course, age and all that, he's no longer the same person. And he's still the main guy in the team.
Yeah.
And I don't think, for me, if I had a way, let's say I was the coach, right?
You're going to drop him?
Not drop him, but sometimes I look at Algeria and I feel
like a video player. You got to bring him.
Should he really be hugging the touchline at this stage?
Wow.
You know, can we bring him towards the middle and say
player coach sort of?
No, not like that. In terms of, instead of him playing on the wing, you know.
Okay, like a 10.
Can something change? Like a 10?
Like a 10. Yeah, because I don't think he still has the speed that he once has.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I saw that at the AFCON.
Yeah.
Especially when they were playing against Nigeria and they couldn't get anything going.
Yeah.
You know, it was so one-sided. And I'm thinking, probably it's time to change his position a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can adapt to playing in a very crowded middle of the pitch because he's used to going out there and having one wing. But he doesn't have the pace again.
He doesn't have the pace, no. He doesn't.
You know, so apart from that, I think the players around him are decent. I just feel like it's a team that needs to switch one or two things around and they could be okay. I think they are decent players playing in reasonable leagues, you know, competitive football. The talent is there. The local football is still doing well. And also, I wouldn't read too much into what happened at the AFCON. Why? Because they were playing so well up until the quarterfinal. It just took one match.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a huge indictment on the level of play or on Algerian football. It was just a bad day in the office, and it just happened to be at the quarterfinal
Against,
just like Nigeria later had a very bad day in the semi-final. But it doesn't nullify the first 5 performances.
That's right.
Yeah, so I think they may need to do something about the way Mahrez is playing. Yeah, because I don't think he has any.
So for you, that's the key.
Yeah, I think that's
of
the key.
Mahrez would be the key.
He's still the main guy. He can pick a pass.
Yeah, he can.
He can hit a free
He can
kick.
still beat.
He can still beat the player up, but probably not consistently throughout the match like before. Yeah, but having him on the wing and expecting too much from him may be a problem. Yeah.
Right. Now let's talk about the last country. This is the last country in the Maghreb, and that is Morocco. Well, prior to 2022, people will say, okay, Morocco also, they barely do well on the global stage, but now nobody's talking about that. Now the next thing is, will Morocco take the next step, that is to get to the final, becoming the first country to get there? Because as of now, they still have the history record is on their side, the first African country ever to get to the semi-finals of the World Cup. What are you expecting from the Atlas Lions this time around?
It may be difficult. I think they will make it out of their group. Yeah. But I'm not sure they may go as far as last time. They have too much quality not to make it out of that group.
But what do you think would be the factor? Why don't you trust this team to make it that far?
I think because they're no longer a surprise package. So
you mean other teams will prepare better?
Exactly. There are European teams and South American teams that you pit against Morocco now, and Morocco is not the underdog. It's the team expected to win, right? Because what's their FIFA ranking? I think they are 8th in the world currently, right?
Yes.
So there are only 7 teams, statistically speaking, that are better than them currently in the world. So if they play any team that is not any of those 7 teams, automatically expect Morocco to win. But last time, it wasn't the case. Last time, if Morocco won any of their matches, it was a big surprise. And to me, I think it's easier to win a match when people don't expect you to win than when the pressure of... Because right now, people are expecting Morocco to get to the final. If we go with the example of Brazil, they haven't been to the final since 2002 because people are always expecting them to get to the final. England haven't even been there since 66 because people are always expecting them to get to the final.
Yeah.
Except
2018. Was it 2018?
Those were the Euros.
Those were Euros, right?
Yeah, those were the Euros.
Right.
2018 was the World Cup in Russia, and they made it to the semi-final.
Yeah.
They lost to Croatia.
That's right. But you expect Morocco to, like you said, to get qualification for because they are pitted against Brazil, Scotland, and Haiti.
Mm-hmm. Of course, they should win against Scotland and Haiti.
Brazil,
it depends.
They could negotiate.
It depends. I guess Brazil should be the last match of the group. So maybe by then they've already secured qualification, probably, if it is the last match of the group. So it depends. If both teams have already secured qualification, it may just be a matter of who's going to top the group. And they may play weekend sides, depending on the situation of the qualification, right? But I expect Morocco to beat Scotland and Haiti.
Well, they have what it takes to beat both those two teams.
But after that, I'm not quite sure what will happen.
After that, you're not quite. You don't see them perhaps getting to the quarterfinal?
They may, of course, they may.
But you don't see them repeating the same thing like they did in Qatar 2020.
I don't know. For some reason, I don't see them getting to the semi-final. But they have the quality. You have Brahim Díaz in there, you know.
Achraf Hakimi, obviously. El Kabi, Sofiane Amrabat.
Not quite the same Amrabat. There's Unai. Yeah. So Bono, the goalkeeper, was very safe bands, you know.
No.
So they have the quality in there. Who knows? They may do it. I would like to be proven wrong. Yeah, but I feel like the weight of expectation is just too much. And I'm not sure they may be up to managing it because, you know, people are expected to win the World Cup, but they put Germany in front of you, and you know you're chasing the ball for 15 minutes, but made it out straight to be able to to balance the fact that, remember in the 2014 World Cup,
Yeah.
At the semi-final, the Brazil-Germany match, the 7-1 match. First goal, second goal, third goal. It got to a point where the commentator said, and now they are lining up. Because Brazil were lost mentally.
Yeah, they were lost, mentally.
They didn't lose that match physically, they lost it mentally.
And football is all about the mind.
The weight of expectation is not easy. It's easier to be the other team that no one expects to go far, and somehow
when you have
managed to score, the underdog.
Like some would say Morocco were in 2022.
Morocco is no longer an underdog.
No, I mean in 2020.
They were an underdog.
Perhaps that they had no pressure then.
No pressure.
So they were just playing for fun. They were enjoying the game. But now it's different. Let's talk about the last African team for this 2026 World Cup, and that is the reigning African champions. Before any final decision comes from CAS, and that is Senegal. And in their group, interestingly, they're in Group I, Francis. They are paired against, France, the colonizers, Iraq, and Norway. Some would say France, aside from France, you expect Senegal to beat Norway and Iraq, with all due respect to these two teams.
Well, Norway, I'm not quite sure. There is a Erling Haaland factor. There is the Odegaard factor.
True.
A lot of good players in the team.
True.
So I'm not quite sure. And also, the Scandinavian teams, I think this is the first time a Scandinavian team is so based on an individual or individuals, because they are more known for their collective teamwork, and they usually have the star players.
But now you have a all-star striker.
Ibra aside for Sweden over the last few years, and maybe the Danish team of the main teams, that had a lot of star players, the Lodrops and all that. But that aside, the Scandinavian teams are always known for teamwork and not depending on one player. But this time around, they have some wall beaters.
They do. They do.
Adam could score from anything.
But what do you think of Senegal's chances from this Group I, Francis? You would expect them to secure qualification to the next round, because anything less than that would be a massive failure.
Senegal is the best African team heading to the World Cup. Senegal is the best African team heading to the World Cup. But it can go two ways. Is either Senegal goes all the way to the quarterfinal, and from there anything can happen, or we may have a situation of the best African team that has probably underperformed at the World Cup is the Cameroon team of the 2002 World Cup. What Senegal did in 2002, if I go back to my understanding of football at that time, because the Cameroon team were expected to do that.
Right.
This was the team that was
they were
back-to-back AFCONs.
They were the champions 2022.
Back-to-back AFCONs, and we're expecting so much. So I think they're at that stage where it's either they do well or it may be catastrophic. But I hope they do well.
Of course.
Because to me, this is the best African team heading
to the World Cup.
The team has a combination of everything.
Yeah, I think I agree with you too. From the defense, from the goalkeeper to the strikers, the experience involved. I think Senegalese team also, and also remember they still have the same coach. There's not that they don't know. These are players who have been playing together for a while now, and then they still have the same coach.
The home-based players also won the Chan, and that's where we had
Lamine Camara, of course,
and they're still in the national team. So there's already like a winning mentality in the team, both for the older and the younger players, and I think they may go far.
Okay.
If everything works well, they may go far.
They may go far. Right, just a reminder that the qualified teams from Africa that will be represented the continent are Senegal, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, Cape Verde, South Africa, and DR Congo. But quickly, Francis, before we shift to another topic of discussion, among these 10 teams, which one would you tip to go farthest?
Senegal.
At what stage?
Semi-finals.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Francis is predicting Senegal, the Terran Lions, to go all the way to the semi-finals. Whatever happens, of course, we will keep you up to date.